communities. Different types of communities. You will need your electronic device, your pencil, and your social studies journal. Learning intention for this lesson. The students will be able to understand why and how we modify the environment. Success criteria for this lesson. I will identify examples of how the environment can be modified using 3 different types of communities. What are we learning? Community, a place where people live and work together. First, there's something called an urban community. An urban community is a city. In urban communities, homes and stores are very close together. Here's an example of an urban community. Notice that there are tall buildings and there's not a lot of vegetation or plants. Pictures of urban communities. Notice that there are a system of driving. These systems are called freeways. And notice the cars are traveling. It's very busy. Here's another city. And another city. This is an example of apartment homes or townhomes in a city. There are buses, traffic, suburban communities. A suburban community is close to a city. Homes are closer together than in the country, but farther apart than in the city. Suburban communities. Here's an example. You guys live in a suburban community, so your street may look something like this. There's usually a place where you can gather and meet as a community. Here's an example of a community center in a suburban community. Here's another example of a water park or swimming pool area in a suburban community. There are normally streets and rows of homes. You guys noticed this when you guys created maps. Notice that there's also yards where you guys have vegetation, trees, and plants and grass. People often exercise and there are trails. And also, you may look out and see trees that look something like forest. There's not as much traffic as in an urban community. Rural community. A rural community is in the country. Homes may be very far apart. There are a lot of fields and trees. Rural. Some of you guys even live in some areas that may look rural. Here's an example. Notice that there is vegetation for animals and there's plenty of room for the animals to roam or graze. There are normally highways in a community, but not very many houses as you guys can see in a community. Normally there may be a small town. This is an example of what there are farmers in rural communities. Here's an example of a home and land that is formed around a rural community. South Dakota. This is a picture from South Dakota showing rush hour. There is not very much traffic in a rural community. Read about types of communities. You will click the link to learn more about types of communities. Use this table to compare the three types of communities: urban, suburban, and rural. Remember, urban is city, suburban is it's not a city, it's less people than in the city, and then rural, which is the country. Share your table comparing three types of communities in the class discussion.